Top 10 Strange and Bizarre Magical Objects. Witchcraft was once extremely common. While the practice is still practiced in some areas today, it is not as common as it once was. Objects and artifacts with magical properties made by witches of the past and present are still common, and surprisingly so. While most people dismiss these as superstitious trinkets, others regard them as genuine magical objects, sometimes malicious, sometimes neutral, but always fascinating at least to viewers here. While some of these items have fallen out of favor, a few remain. In fact, some are still manufactured today. With that in mind, let us enter the world of witchcraft. Number 10. The Hand of Glory. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you might recognize this item, which was once found on the shelves of Borgin and Burke's. Although it appears to be entirely made up, a number of these do exist, as remnants of mystical traditions in Europe in the 1800s. A true Hand of Glory is created by first hanging a man for a crime, most commonly theft. Once he's dead, you sever his right or left hand while he's still hanging. The hand is then placed in a barrel filled with salt and saltpeter, potassium nitrate, and left to dry. Simultaneously, the fat from a hanged man is extracted and turned into a candle. When the hand has been properly mummified, the candle is placed inside it, transforming it into a candle holder of sorts. When the candle is lit, it is said to put all occupants of the house where it is lit to sleep, making it easier for the thief holding the hand to search the house for valuables. The candle flame is also said to be water resistant, only being affected by blood or milk. You won't be able to find one of these at Target, but if you shop around online, you might get lucky. The one shown here is the real deal from a museum. Number 9. Gris bags. Witchcraft and voodoo are well known in Louisiana, particularly in New Orleans. The gris, pronounced gris, is the most well known of the magical objects made and sold there. The gris is created by filling a square of cloth with various objects. The number of ingredients varies depending on the bag, but it is always an odd number between 1 and 9, or 13. The specific ingredients vary according to the bag, but common ingredients include small bones, gopher dust, colored stones, herbs, and spices. The ingredients are laid out on the cloth square, which is then folded in half to form a bag. The bag's neck is tighter sewn shut, and the gris is consecrated with salt, water, incense, and briefly held over a flame. After that, the gris is considered complete and active, and it can be used for whatever purpose it was designed for, ranging from gambling luck to murder. Number 8. Witch bottles. The witch bottle was a popular item in the 16th and 17th centuries for protecting the home from malicious witchcraft. The belief at the time was that a witch, or wizard, though they were not commonly thought to be evil, could send a spirit, whether their own or someone else's, to terrorize and afflict a person. So, how do you defend yourself from magic? With more magic, apparently. You would set up this counter-magic device if you were on the wrong side of a witch's wrath. The basic instruction was extremely simple. You pee in a bottle, or fill it with salt water or wine if you'd used up your daily supply, then add pins, needles, nails, red threads, and rosemary. You buried it somewhere on your property after it was corked and sealed. If a spirit came to haunt you again, the red thread in the bottle would draw it in, the pins, needles, and nails would impale it, and the liquid would drown it. The rosemary, if included, would then carry the now twice dead spirit away. Your home was safe from most evil spirits, as long as the bottle was buried and unbroken. Number 7. Raccoon penis bone. Appalachian magic is a strange concoction of several different cultures and a healthy dose of Christianity. This religious stew has resulted in some intriguing magical practices, one of which is the raccoon penis bone. When a raccoon dies, whether from old age, being hunted, or being hit by a car, the seeker of the magical bone must deflesh the raccoon all the way down to the skeleton, in order to retrieve the penis bone, baculum. The bone is then placed in a boiling pot to remove the tough to reach bits of flesh and fat. The bone is dried after it has been cleaned of meat. Then the magical object's life begins. Among the most common applications is giving it to a girl on a red ribbon to wear as a necklace. A love declaration. Other applications include burying it under your crush's porch to make them love you, or placing it between your bed and the floor, to increase your libido and stamina. It may also help with stiff necks. Number 6. Frog coffins. According to Finnish mythology, the frog coffin served many purposes. The frog coffin, like the witch bottle, was frequently used as a counter-magical device to reflect evil magic back onto the caster, as well as a healing charm. Frog coffins, unlike the witch bottle, could be a form of evil magic in and of themselves. It was also undeniably more gruesome to make than a witch bottle. According to legend, you had to first catch a frog that was as red as possible. Then you had to carve a piece of alder wood into a traditional coffin, complete with lid. The next step varied depending on what the frog was for, but the final preparations always included binding the frog's back legs with red twine, and placing the frog on its back in the coffin. The lid was then closed over the frog, and 9 coffin nails were driven through the center of the lid from top to bottom, saving the spot over the frog's heart for last. The frog would then be buried in a churchyard, and a prayer said over it, just like a human funeral. If everything went as planned, and depending on how you intended to use the frog, you'd either be saved from evil or inflict some yourself. Number 5. Toad bones. According to English folklore, anyone with patience can become a toad witch, a very powerful witch with the ability to cast the evil eye, but the path there is pretty disgusting and disturbing. There are 2 ways to become a toad witch, and neither is particularly pleasant. Both, however, require a specific item. A toad's magical bone. Option 1 entails catching and killing a natterjack toad, then carrying it in your bra, or jockstrap if you're a gender non-conforming witch, until it rots all the way through to its backbone. You take the toad to a river and hold it out over the water until Satan himself appears and snatches you up. You are now a toad witch, capable of performing all manner of black magic. Option 2 was less repulsive, but no less gruesome. You must still catch and kill a natterjack, but instead of carrying it in your bra, the toad should be buried in an anthill, which is very common, so that the ants can eat its flesh. When the toad is completely defleshed, you take it to a river and place each bone one by one in the water. If one of the bones floats, it is your magical bone, and using it will bestow great magical power upon you. Number 4. Black cat bone. The black cat bone, my personal choice for the worst and most horrific magical item on this list, has a long history in both African and European black magic rituals. The black cat bone, which has the ability to make you invisible, is said to be a powerful object, but the method used to obtain it is horrifying. At exactly midnight, a black cat must be placed alive in a pot of boiling water. The cat is then boiled until all of the meat has fallen off the bones in shreds. The bones are strained from the stew and placed, one by one, in the witch's mouth, until the witch's personal assistant informs them that they have become invisible. The bone can also be used to entice a long-lost lover back into your arms, though I advise against telling them how you did it. Number 3. Dried cats. It appears that Europeans had a penchant for concealing unusual objects in and around their homes. Dried cats, like witch bottles, were thought to protect the home from evil, and they are exactly what they sound like. A cat, of any size or color, would be killed and then posed in an attack pose. The corpse was then transferred to a barrel and wrapped in salt in the same manner of a hand of glory. When the cat was completely desiccated, it was taken out of the salt and into the maker's house, where it was sealed into a wool. The dried rat or bird was frequently accompanying the cat. This ritual sacrifice and spell were believed to ward off not only witches and evil spirits, but also pests, illnesses, and bad luck. Dried cats can still be found in British homes and cottages, 400 years after they were buried in the walls. Some were undoubtedly there by accident when a hasty builder wasn't paying attention, but a number were genuinely intended for magical purposes. Number 2. Hidden shoes. Hidden shoes, like many other items on this list, were used to ward off evil spirits such as ghosts, demons, and witches. However, there was no special ritual for this object, simply hide your child's shoes in the nearest wall. The reasoning behind this, according to experts, was that children were so innocent that placing their shoes in the walls created a barrier against evil. At least 40 shoes were discovered stashed in the walls, chimney, and attic of one house in Western Crete, Tasmania. In addition to the shoes, there were hats, toys, and even a dried cat that were said to serve the same purpose. There are no records to tell us who lived there, but having gone to such lengths to conceal so many anti-witch devices, they must have been terrified or cursed. Number 1. Older horse. Europeans were concerned about the health and happiness of their horses, in addition to protecting their homes from witches. A life-sized horse was carved out of alder wood for a new stable. The horse was given its own, smaller stable, as well as a basket in which to eat. The basket would be filled with barley and mercury, and a blanket made from a new mother's skirt would be draped over the horse, preferably after it had been removed from the woman. Finally, the horse's eyes would be painted with the new mother's blood, and the entire miniature stable would be buried beneath a new stable for the real horses. This was said to ensure that the horses, such as the alder horse, were always warm, fed, happy, and healthy. And that's all for this episode. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, so you don't miss the next strange and unusual video.